with my winged eagle over here. Welcome to episode dos of the Zip Code Bros. I am Michael John Gallagher II. With me, as always, is Ben Jones, Timmy Sorensen, and Adam Jefferson. How we doing, fellas?
Great. How are you going?
Good. And today's topic is Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Well, Mike, when you first came in, I thought that was Terry Bollea.
I like it. I like it. Well, thanks for indulging me, gentlemen. First question I want to ask is, how's everybody doing? Let's start with you, Jimmy.
Good. I was just playing Real American a second ago, and you guys totally no-sold it.
Well, again, I think it's a copyright thing.
Okay. I have to edit that first part out then.
No.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I got both belts that I want in the shot with me, especially right here and there.
When we do the Hulk Hogan, when we go around the round table later on, I want you to bring that belt up and show it off because you got some cool stuff on that belt, man.
It'll be the focal point. I just want this one on my shoulder right now, but I'm doing good. I'm fighting off a cold. I apologize if I sound like garbage. But I'm trying not to go 12 rounds with Mr. T, or Roddy Piper, but unfortunately, it's been a couple days since I got the cold, but getting better, drinking my orange juice, saying my prayers, and eating my vitamin, brother.
Awesome. How's your week?
Adam, how are you, Mr. Jefferson? How are you?
I'm good, man. Teaching middle school PE has its ups and mostly downs, but I'm doing fine there. My son's got strep and now he's got a bad cough, so he's been a little clingy and all that, but we were able to take him to the zoo over the weekend and he had a blast. Got to see grizzly bears and tigers and rhinos and just all the animals that he just loves to see. So other than that, though, doing great. Absolutely doing great.
Question: did you tease him saying we're going to take you to see your brothers and sisters in the monkey cage?
No, but he thinks he's a grizzly bear. So I said, well, you're going to go see the real deal and figure out how much of a grizzly bear you really are.
That's great. How's your mental health been this week, Adam?
Man, it's been good. The stress of teaching with the kids just being off the chain almost every single day kind of gets to you, but it seems to melt away when I get back home and my son runs up to the door and shouts "Dad" and all that. So the stress is there when I'm at work, but kind of as soon as I get in the car to head home, it starts to go away.
That's great. Do you do anything to decompress on the way home? You listen to a certain song, listen to a podcast or a radio station?
Usually the first thing I do is I call my wife because I don't really get to talk to her throughout the day. So I call her, and if we do have to hang up before I get home, I just listen to whatever podcast is next. I think today I was listening to the latest episode of FTR with Dax Harwood.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Anything else about your week you want to add? Any highs, any lows, anything you learned?
No, I actually am just doing great. My school district actually kind of does take care of the students and teachers. One Friday out the month, they have what's called a wellness day. And on these wellness days, it's a half day for everybody. Usually in the teaching profession, a half day is a half day for students, and the teachers still have to stay to their contracted time, usually doing some kind of meetings or professional development or something. But on these wellness days, everyone gets out at the same time. So this coming Friday, I'll be done. I'll be home by 11:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So kind of a 2.5 day weekend for me coming up, and I'm really looking forward to that, to just getting some family time and time with the wife and all that.
That's awesome. That's always, family time is best in the world, man. I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Ben, how is your week going?
Yeah, not too bad. I had a bit of a rough weekend, and Mike, you and I spoke, privately about that. I find that on the weekends that I don't have the boys with me, it can be quite challenging because I'm here by myself. So sometimes the loneliness hits heavier than other times. And that was one of those weekends, and I was completely flat, not really motivated to do anything. It messes up with your sleep, you start overthinking. And yeah, so, I mean, luckily that's passed now. Like, I'm feeling good today. I
Good.
started the day off with a walk. But yeah, it was just one of those moments, and, luckily I could reset quicker than, yeah. So no, pretty good today though. So all good.
So when you're feeling flat like that, as you put it, what do you try to do for yourself to get out of that?
DDP yoga is a big help. I do that every couple of days. So I just have to sort of force myself to do it. That can sometimes help me sleep better. But then if I'm real bad, then I get lazy and just don't really want to move off the couch. So, and the most important thing is what I'm eating. It's very easy to, when you're not feeling well, to eat crap that you shouldn't be eating. So yeah, it's about making that conscious effort to eat better, because that's obviously going to help your mindset as well. So, but yeah, like the last couple of days though, back on track.
That's awesome, and that's
Yeah.
really something important to say, because I'm a big proponent of, you are what you eat, and what you put in your body can make you feel crappy. It can make you feel good. It can make you feel healthy. It can make you feel unhealthy. My boys had McDonald's tonight, so I grabbed a couple of their fries, and like, I'm still feeling like crappy because I had like a couple of French fries. But I'm glad that you're doing better. I'm glad that your head is better.
Yeah.
So,
how are you going?
yeah. So my weekend was pretty good. Again, there's something you and I had spoken about privately on Saturday, but I had a date Saturday afternoon, and it was a great time, but it made me realize how little time I have to get to know people these days. Between watching my kids all the time. Now, we talked about this, like, I'm the complete opposite of you, where I have my kids full time. And while it is a blessing, it is the joy, it is the biggest joy of my life, the fact that I get to see my boys every single minute of every single day. It is challenging when I don't have that break. And one of the things that I feel like I've been missing out on is getting to know people, whether it's making friends or more than that. So, you and I talked about that very similar. You start to get in your head, you start to get in your hole, where it's you don't know what the future is going to hold, and you start getting nervous about it. And I know for me, I try to, there's a great Bible verse, and I don't want to get too biblical or too within my faith on this podcast, because I don't know who knows what. Don't want to turn anybody off, but there's one verse that says, "Don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will worry about itself." And and I try to remember that more in the respect of just keep what's in front of you, and try to battle those obstacles today, because tomorrow there's going to be a whole nother set of challenges, or somebody's got your back. And when I'm feeling flat, I actually like to write. I don't journal. I haven't gotten into my journaling yet, but I write a little bit of poetry. And if you guys will indulge me, since we're being vulnerable, I'd love to read this little snippet I wrote called "Get to Know Me," if it's
Please
okay
do.
with you guys. So I just titled it "Get to Know Me." I may seem strange, but that will change once you get to know me. I might not have time, but when I do, it's yours and mine. Get to know me. There's so many new and old ways of communicating these days: a phone, a book, a loving look. So why don't you get to know me? You may think you already do, but I swear it's not true. There's so much more to me than you can see. So please get to know me.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you. So that makes me feel better. It gets it off my chest, and I feel like I'm talking to somebody. So thank you for indulging me, guys. So is
No,
anybody
thank you for
else
sharing.
Oh, my pleasure. Does anybody else have something about their week before we go into this week in pro wrestling history?
Actually, I do. Right before we started recording, I bought myself an early birthday gift. My birthday's all the way out in May, and
May what?
May 30th.
May 30th. All right.
May
Got it.
19th, SmackDown is going to be live in Columbia, South Carolina. So I bought 2 tickets. My wife and I are going to go. We're going to be the 7th row on the floor to the left of the commentary table if you're looking at the commentary table. And it'll be her first wrestling show.
You pulled the trigger on it.
Yep, pulled the trigger. I got the text. I got an automated text from WWE, said pre-sale code. So we started looking at seats, and for floor seats, those are really well priced, and we snatched them up.
That's awesome. Are you going to be on camera?
I don't know. That far back, even though it's only the 7th row, probably not. But you just never know what they got planned for that show.
That's right. Well, make sure you have the Zip Code Bro sign, and we can look for it.
Exactly.
That's great. Is your wife a fan?
Not really. She'll watch it with me here and there, I think. But she didn't really watch it before we even got together. But she's excited. I'm excited. I think we're gonna have a great time. Great little date night as well.
That's so awesome, man. That's so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats.
And that's a great segue into this week in pro wrestling history.
Yes, it is. There it is. All right. Let's get started here. March 5th, 2001. Paul Heyman makes his surprise debut as the new color commentator for Monday Night Raw, just 1 week after Jerry the King Lawler leaves WWE. March 6th, 1972, New Japan Pro Wrestling holds its very first show. March 7th, 1999, Kurt Angle makes his WWF television debut on Sunday Night Heat. Tiger Ali Singh attempts to bribe Kurt with $5,000 to blow his nose on the American flag. Kurt instead blows his nose on the Indian flag and then suplexes Singh twice. Thought this one stood out because our topic is Hulk Hogan. March 8th, 2010, TNA Impact from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida would feature the in-ring returns of both Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. March 8th, 2020, the WWE Elimination Chamber live from Philadelphia would be the last WWE pay-per-view with fans in attendance before the COVID-19 pandemic. March 10th, 2019, The Shield make their final appearance as a faction at the Fastlane pay-per-view. And March 11th, 2002, the NWO beat Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock in a handicap match. And this is actually the only time Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin were ever in the same match in a WWE ring.
That's crazy. I really like that one. Hey, I'm going to time out for 1 second. I want to go back to that. I want to go back to that pandemic one. When I saw that list, I thought that was definitely important to bring up there because it's crazy to think that 2 years ago, or 3 years ago rather, was the beginning of essentially what's really been going on in the world the last 3 years. So to me, it was interesting to find that this was the last week of 2020 that they had the live event.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how quickly time goes, not just in life, but in, I think time in professional wrestling goes by 10 times faster than it does in life. Because, we think about some of the moments that we're probably going to talk about later in this episode. And if some of these moments feel like just yesterday, maybe 5 years ago, but then you look it up and it was actually like 25 years ago or 10 years ago. It's just how quickly time goes.
Yeah. So you got a couple birthdays for us?
Yeah. Our notable birthdays for this week include David Flair, March 6, 1979. Mr. Anderson, March 6, 1976.
Anderson.
And he could have had a great run, couldn't he? Val Venus, March 6, 1971. Some guy named Bruce Pritchard, I don't know. March 7th, 1963.
Does it got a T in there?
No, but you put a T on your back.
T on your back.
Chad Gable, March 8th, 1986. Rick Steiner, March 9th, 1960. And AEW's Luchasaurus, March 10th, 1985.
Nice. Very cool. All right. So Ben, do we got some questions from the zip code broskies?
We have a ton of questions. Well, not a ton. That's an exaggeration. So the first question is from our first lady of the Zip Code Bros, Miss Alison Fay. And her question, I'm going to direct it to Jimmy. So she asks, what was your favorite match from AEW Revolution? Now, before you answer, hers was without a doubt the MJF and Danielson match. Even with all of the confusion of when the pinfalls, countouts counted, it was great entertainment, a definite qualifier for match of the year. And she thinks that the build to make you want to hate, love MJF has been brilliant. So, Jimmy, what was your favorite match from that event?
The smart answer for me is the one where Mr. Gallagher's doppelganger, Captain Charisma, got beat by Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And in all seriousness, actually, it is my favorite match. It's just because I thought it was a good story. But I guess as much as I hate MJF as a person and want him to go away, it was a good match between him and Bryan Danielson, and with a chicken shit heel finish, which was really good.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. So next we've got one of Adam's friends, Mr. Sean Kennedy. He sent in a couple of questions.
Kennedy.
First one.
Kennedy.
It's funny, we were just talking about Anderson. So there you go.
Right.
So
that's what we call a callback.
So Sean asks, as someone who didn't get into wrestling until 2011, outside of his accolades, why is Hulk Hogan considered a GOAT? What did he do that was so amazing that he was the guy for WWF? So I started watching when he really blew up, and I'm going to say that his appearance in Rocky 3 really helped, put him on the national map. But then when he became champion, I mean, you've got the US hero that beat the nasty foreigner for the title, obviously beating Iron Sheik. So that automatically made him a national hero. But then it was after WrestleMania, throughout 1985, when he became a global star. And it was just a combination of his look, his size, his charisma, and it was off to the races. So and he was consistently just like a mainstream star throughout the 80s and 90s. And I think that's why through those pivotal times in the business that he is widely regarded as the biggest star in history. So did anyone want to add to that, or I'm sorry?
No, I think you nailed it there, Ben. Definitely the Rocky 3 appearance. You get a major motion picture, major Hollywood film like that. Definitely helped. And just the marketing machine that WWE even had back in the 80s to put him on pretty much everything. And fans ate it up. And that's really one of the big things that helps people get into that GOAT category is the fan reaction, the merchandise sales, things like that. So from as I was born, kind of near the, I guess you could say, the end of his career, or at least the end of the good part of his career. The NWO and all that. But it was just marketing and him just being savvy business person giving the people what they want. Because you look at his matches in Japan and he would actually work. You know, in the States, it was definitely more of that WWF 80s children's aimed at style. The very formulaic, almost like John Cena matches were. He had the comeback and all that. So he knew how to make business, basically.
Yeah, very much so. Sean's other question, Mike, you can answer this one. Why is Hulk Hogan's finisher a leg drop instead of a clothesline?
I have no idea. I would think I don't know. I think it's I mean, this is totally my opinion. You know, I think the hulking up, he uses the hulk up and maybe a clothesline there, but I think you would have to ask Hulk Hogan why his finish is a leg drop versus a clothesline. That's a tough one. I mean, did you guys ever hear anything of why he picked the leg drop as his finisher?
I didn't, but I mean, out of the two moves there, you would assume that there's going to be more weight coming down on the opponent with the leg drop rather than just with the arm. Like it's a more devastating.
I think it looks
move.
better too. It looks better. It's more of, like I said, it's more of impactful. You got the leg, you know, you got the leg, you got the woo, little whoosh down there. But yeah, that's what a way to put me on the spot without an answer. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Okay. Next, we've got friend of the show, Brad Stanton from the Kickout Crew. So shout out to those guys and go follow them and watch their podcast.
I will give him a quick plug. Where can we find them at?
Yeah, I just did. Yeah, Kickout Crew on YouTube and wherever you can get podcasts.
And then everyone follow them at Kickout Crew on Twitter, on the Twitter.
On the Twitter
machine.
All right.
The Twitter.
So this is
for the record, I do love Brad. I was saying boo because a good friend of the show, Amy Vaughn, and her have a bantering back and forth, and I'm Team Amy.
And we're gonna bring that storyline into the Zip Code Bros. Okay, so this is for Jimmy and Adam because you guys were born in the 90s. So Brad asks, can you appreciate Hogan in the 80s, or do you find is it too outdated for you?
No. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, as y'all know, I have been trekking through the historical stuff on what used to be the WWE Network and now Peacock. And I would always stop to watch a Hogan match, you know, from the 80s on, you know, so I don't think it's too outdated. You know, the Mega Powers exploding was probably one of my more memorable and favorite storylines from that era. So I definitely don't think it's outdated.
Okay. Oh, that sounds good. Mike, everyone gives Cena a hard time for the 5 moves of doom, but didn't Hogan do the same?
Yes.
I think he did. Yeah, I think that's a great question, Brad. He did do the same, and I want to say he might have had 3 moves of doom. He had the body slam, he had the Hulk up, and he had the leg drop. But I think in the 80s, and I think when Hogan was around, I think it was more of a story. I think it was more of I won't say a show, but for lack of a better term, a show, because Hogan was on the receiving end of the match most of the match. If you guys go back and look, he was always getting beat up by the big guy. And I think what the biggest difference is between Cena and Hogan is everybody was waiting for that Hulk up. And I don't think Cena had that Hulk up where he would say no sell a move, and then do the Hulk up because everybody was waiting for that Hulk up. And Hogan would give it to us for a few minutes and then he'd go back down. And then he'd give it to us for another second and he'd go back down, right? And then finally you got that and then the 1, 2, 3, the 5 moves of doom, the 3 punches, the big boot, and then the leg drop. And I think why Hogan's wasn't labeled those 5 moves of doom was because everybody was waiting for that Hulk up. And once we got that Hulk up, I don't think people cared what came after that, as long as Hogan got the win.
Well said. Absolutely. Jimmy, is there anyone that pulled off baldness better that didn't shave it clean?
I got one if Jimmy doesn't come up with one.
Chavo Guerrero. Chavo Guerrero kind of has a bald a little bit, and he actually looks pretty good with it. Good head of hair.
Okay, Mike?
Jesse the Body.
Yeah, Jesse and Hogan, pretty much spot on.
Very, very similar. Before Jesse shaved his head, he had a very similar hairstyle to Hogan, and he definitely pulled it off.
Yeah, it never looks that great in begin with, but
But I think he pulled it off, is what I'm saying.
He's an ugly individual, is what I'm trying to say.
John Cena's got a little big bald spot now that he's kind of pulling off.
I think your doppelganger is too. I think Captain Charisma is a little bit too.
I think he does. So hopefully, when I get to that age, the doppelganger's hairline doesn't recede. So I was talking to my cousin a couple of months ago, when last time I saw him, and so he made a joke about my hairline receding. I'm like, my hairline's not receding. He's like, it's not receding. I'm like, you man.
I mean, you have to appreciate that this is a difficult conversation for myself and Brad to have, which is why I wanted to throw it up to you guys.
To be fair, you pull it off way better than Brad.
Oh,
I thank you, I think.
I will say Ranton Stanton rocks the bald look pretty well.
He does. It was a backhanded compliment.
You do realize you don't have to keep saying "I'm just kidding" or I love Brad. Like, you do realize that, like, we understand it's a joke, right, Jimmy?
Jimmy's playing the heel today.
Yeah, but yeah, nah.
So anyway, that's all the questions we've got. So if anyone has some questions for us for future episodes, hashtag Ask Zip Code Bros we'll do the social media stuff later, but. Yeah, thanks guys for submitting those questions.
So these guys are broskies, what do we call them?
I was going to say zippers.
Okay.
I like
We'll
both
work
of them.
on that. We'll work on that.
We'll work on that. But for the Brad Stan, if you see this, there's no heat on my end. I'm just ball busting.
All right, fellas. Well, thank you for that. It was a lot of fun. So that's actually a great segue into our topic for today, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan. So what I think we were going to do is get a little guitar playing there going on. I like it. Jimmy's got the big goal, so it looks a little better on Jimmy. But actually, you know what? I'll pose this question to you guys. What belt do you see? What belt, when you look at Hogan and you look at title belt, and I'm gonna call on you guys just to make it a little bit easier rather than jumping in. What belt, when you think of Hulk Hogan, do you picture? What about you, Ben?
The Winged Eagle.
The Winged Eagle. What about you, Adam?
Big Gold.
Big Gold. What about you, Jimmy?
I'll let you go first.
Well, mine's always going to be the Winged Eagle because I'm an 80s kid.
It's the young guys are picking Big Gold, and the old guys.
I like it. So, Jimmy, I want you to. We're going to do a little quick show and tell of Jimmy's belt, and then what we'll do is we'll just kind of go around the horn, and we'll just kind of give a couple memories of Hogan, why we love Hogan, why we may dislike Hogan for any reason. But first, I want Jimmy, why don't you show up that big gold belt you got there, buddy?
Oh, I got this off of Hogan's Beach Body Shop a few years ago, about 2.5 years ago. It's missing some of the wrestler things, but I have one of them. I gotta find the other one, but and get them welded back on. But it's oh. So I hit myself in the lip.
You're right there, brother.
Yeah. This belt means a lot to me because it has the Hogan nameplate, signed by Hogan.
Whoa.
But it's also signed.
What's on the back there, brother?
I'll get to that. I got it signed by friend of the show, Bobby Duncan.
Shout out to Bobby.
I was able to get Sting to sign it too.
Or as Bobby likes to say, it's Sting!
Sting at WrestleCon at Royal Rumble the weekend this year. But my main reason why I love this belt so much, so it has actually 2 signatures on the back. It's kind of hard to see one of them now. X-Pac signed it a year ago in Dallas, but the main reason I like this is the first autograph piece signed by one Hall of Famer, Eric Bischoff, right after he got announced into the WWE Hall of Fame. I took a chance and emailed him, because I had his email, and asked him if it was thinking about coming up to Cody, Wyoming, and thinking about and wanted to know if he would meet me for lunch or something, and he did. And afterwards, he was nice enough to sign this for me and a trucker's hat, and this is probably one of the best things I own. Lost this twice at a Top Guy weekend, but got it back. But after finding it, and but it's one of my prized possessions. Even though it doesn't look the prettiest, it's pretty. It's beautiful to me, and that's what life is actually. Life may not be the prettiest to you at times, but it has beauty in it.
That's great, Jimmy. That's great.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm gonna talk about my memories of Hulk Hogan, because I got two good memories, and then I got one reason why. You guys talked before about why is Hulk Hogan the GOAT. And Ben and I talked about this on Saturday. Why I think Hulk Hogan is the greatest pro wrestler, sports entertainer, however you want to put it, of all time, is because to me, not only was he the best babyface of all time, but Hulk Hogan was the best heel of all time. I can't think of anybody who was a better babyface than Hulk Hogan and a better heel than Hulk Hogan. Now, guys like Ric Flair, they both had their good face. They had the good guys, their bad guys. But I would argue that Ric Flair was not a very good guy until he became the legend that is Ric Flair. Now, as Eric Bischoff likes to say, he can go out in the street and stop on puppies on fire, and people will still cheer him because he's Ric Flair. Because we have so much respect for him. But I don't think he ever reached that level as a babyface as Hulk Hogan did. And I don't think a guy like Steve Austin ever reached the level of a heel like Hulk Hogan did. I mean, Hulk Hogan went from being a big butt kicker to the biggest chicken you-know-what heel. And that's just, he embraced it so much. He learned how to be a heel. He learned how to be a bad guy after being a good guy for 25 years. And I understand he was a heel when we first came on the scene, but when you get that popular and when you get that, it's hard to turn and make people not like you. It's hard to make people hate you and boo you. And I remember exactly where I was sitting, the exact moment Hulk Hogan dropped that leg drop on Randy Savage. My mom and my dad had the cable box in their bedroom, and we would watch pay-per-views in there. I mean, my brother and and I was watching Bash at the Beach, and I'll never forget. It happened, and I'm just like, Mom, I was 14 years old. Mom, Dad, come here, watch this. Hulk Hogan's a bad guy. He just turned. Come on, come here. And then my other memory of Hulk Hogan I have is when I got married, we all get introduced to the wedding party with a song. So my wife at the time let me pick Real American as our entrance music to come out. So I went down the aisle and I'm doing this and I'm flexing and I'm doing all that stuff for like, seriously, they played the song 3 times. And I'm just going around the dance floor and pointing to everybody around the dance floor. I want to hear you. I want to hear you. And just, oh man, it was great. Just the whole, and then all that nice stuff and all that great stuff. So it's so much fun. So we're going to go to Adam real quick.
Yeah. So one of my first memories of Hogan was seeing him in Rocky. What was it? Rocky 3? Yeah, Rocky 3. My dad sat me down. I didn't really know who he was. And as I got ingrained into wrestling as a fan, as late as I came into the game, you learn about the legend of Hulk Hogan slamming Andre, creating the NWO, things like that. But I didn't really see him on TV until him and Eric kind of came into TNA.
Oh, wow.
And I'm probably in the minority of TNA fans that actually liked the Bischoff era. I love the Aces and Eights storyline and all that. I thought the Hogan Bischoff era was one of the best eras that TNA's ever had. And to me, that shows the longevity and big popularity that Hogan had, that he could carry all that momentum that he had in the 80s and 90s between Hulkamania, the NWO, and now he's bringing eyeballs to TNA that had, that's had its ups and downs, of course. So I think that's another reason why he goes in that GOAT category, is because he's able to continue that popularity and still bring a following, bring an audience to wherever he goes.
That's awesome. Can you hang on for a few more minutes before you got to jump off?
Yeah.
We'll do Ben's spotlight, and then before we segue into our next segment, we'll just get you wrapped. We can wrap you up. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think I can hang on for a few more minutes. I hate to hop off early, but
no, dude, no.
Him bad.
Don't worry. No, don't ever apologize. Don't ever apologize. Ben, what about you? What are your memories of Hulk Hogan?
Well, in the last episode, I briefly covered that it was WrestleMania 1 that is where I became a fan of Hogan. The charisma just jumped out of the screen and I was hooked. But some good memories I have is when Hogan and Andre faced off at WrestleMania, because my dad, he was an Andre guy, like in the mid 70s to late 70s. So when his guy versus my guy went at it, we had that bonding moment, which was great. But we both knew Hogan was going to win because it was passing the torch.
Ben, I'm going to just time you out there. Adam, if you got to bounce.
No, I've maybe just a few more minutes and up, but I'm
okay.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Ben, about that.
No, that's all right. So yeah, we had that father-son wrestling moment, which was great. WrestleMania 4, I was about 10 years old, and I remember
Jimmy,
I'd come out of the shower, and I'd be all wet and everything, and I'm looking in the mirror going, hey, I'm a little Hulkamaniac. So I would completely do his promo from WrestleMania 4, pretending that I had sweat on my body. And I was like, let me tell you something, brother, and all that. So yeah, I remember being a bit of an idiot then.
WrestleMania, not an idiot.
Oh, you had to do it. Yeah, the 24 millimeter pythons.
So I have the 6-inch pythons. I got to wrap it around twice to get 6.
Nice. WrestleMania 6 was another good memory. because obviously pre-internet, and we didn't have the technology that we do now. And my friend and I at school were both Ultimate Warrior fans as well, so we were torn as to who we wanted to win. And the only way that we were going to find out soon was to call a hotline. Otherwise, we would have had to have waited several months for the magazines to come out to see what the results were. Like, that's how it was back then. So we rang the hotline to find out the Warrior won. And it was a bit of a mixed emotion, because it was like, well, we're glad the Warrior won, but then Hogan, we grew up with him and he's only been on top for 5 years, but it had already felt that he was on his way out. He was declining. So there was that. And then WrestleMania 18, when he came back, and I mean, Mike, we've talked about this.
Yes.
The fact that he came out as NWO Hogan and then turned back into the old Hogan with all the Hulk ups and the ear to the crowd and all that.
Adam, were you able to watch WrestleMania 18 live, or did you catch that after the fact?
I had to catch it after the fact.
Yeah.
If I wanted to watch a WWE pay-per-view, my parents were like, well, if you've saved up for your allowance and you can afford it. They get to watch pay-per-views live growing up.
Awesome.
Yes. So that was actually on a Monday morning, that pay-per-view, and I took the day off work. I called it in, said I can't come in.
What did you tell me you called those days, Adam? When you call in sick, what did you say you call them?
Sickies or sick
Sickies.
days. Yeah, sickies.
I like it.
So that's what I did for that. And then I'm just going to show off a couple of things. 2009 Hulkamania tour came to Australia, and I thought, this is not supposed to happen. So I got to meet him at the airport, hang out with him.
Ben with hair. He had hair. Brother.
And then we got talking, and then I followed him out to the car park, where his van was waiting. And he was like, okay, brother, nice chatting to you. I got to head off now.
That's awesome.
So got the old pat on the back. And then just a couple of random bits of memorabilia here. I've got this baseball card with a piece of his torn shirt.
Nice.
And we've got the WWF rookie card that's autographed, one of the Topps ones that you used to get in the packs with bubble gum. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty much that in a very quick review.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Adam, if it's okay with you, Adam, I know you got to get going, so let's wrap you up. Where can we find you on Twitter? What about your other podcast? Tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I actually think so highly of myself or whatever that I actually have 2 Twitter accounts. So for your more personal and wrestling takes, you can follow me at the ARJ brand. If you are more interested in the high school football coaching side of my life, I'm there. You can find me at Coach A Jefferson. I also have a solo podcast called Just One Man's Thoughts. New episode will be dropping this week. Haven't recorded it yet because of how busy things have been at work. But you can follow that at Just Thoughts Pod, and that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the platforms.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, I hope everything's good at home. I hope he feels better.
I hope so.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, hopefully, y'all enjoy. I hate to cut my time short, but he's feel bad. So looking forward to the next episode. Want to just say love each and every one of y'all. Loving doing the Zip Code Bros. Looking forward to zooming with y'all again.
Love you too,
Thanks,
brother.
Adam.
Talk to you
Take care,
soon.
buddy.
Nice. See y'all.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. I love that. So one thing I actually do want to say to our audience, all 2 of them, is if you think there's a better way or a better constructive way to do the rest of the spotlight, maybe we give a background, maybe we give a little bit more information, please hit us up on
Twitter.
At Zip Code Bros on Twitter.
at Zip Code Bros on Twitter, because we're open to constructive criticism.
Or the other thing is you can hit us up, personally on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or
Or
individually.
give me a holler, give us a text, something like that. Whitaker reached out to me last week, and again, another shout out to the Kick Out crew. But Mike Whitaker reached out and he was very kind. So yeah, please, we wanna. I'm not going to say this is your show like the Kick Out crew, but you know, we want you guys to subscribe and keep listening. So let us know.
And
But
we value your opinion.
yeah, just not Eddie Prather.
Brad Stanton, we value Andy's opinion.
You guys are out of control.
I'm staying Switzerland with that stuff.
I love you.
Speaking of, let's give Amy a little shout out to the Pondwater Dave show. He's got a very special episode this week, and I can't wait to listen to it.
It's a good episode.
It was live on YouTube just before we started recording.
So I can't wait to listen to that. It's gonna be a great story. So speaking of great stories, see what I did there?
Just quickly,
Yeah.
Jimmy's memories of Hulk Hogan.
Mine are probably mostly TNA. I have one. So actually, when I first got into wrestling, which was in 06, he came back and did a match with his last WWE match ever was against Randy Orton at SummerSlam in 2006. So I got to watch the build up to that pay-per-view, and it was good. And I've gone back and able to watch old SmackDowns and old Monday Night Raws from years ago, and one of the coolest things is watching Edge and Hulk Hogan win the tag team titles in July, on the July 4th, 2002 SmackDown from Scissor Me Daddy.
All right, you're cut off.
Billy Gunn and
You're cut off.
Billy and Chuck.
You're cut off. No scissor me daddy, Mr. Lopez.
He's working on himself. Good dude. Good dude.
Yes, great dude. Great dude. But I'll pose a quick question to you guys. What did you guys, in really like 2 words, what did you guys think of the Shawn Michaels Hulk Hogan match? Ben.
I didn't like Shawn Michaels overselling. I thought that was unprofessional.
What about you, Jimmy? Couple words.
I thought it was great. And contrary to Ben's, I mean, yes, it was unprofessional, but at the same time, Michael should have gone over.
Fair enough. All right. So we have a new, not a new segment, but we initially were going to do a Jimmy show and tell, but as I was telling Jimmy last night, he's got so much more than just show and tells. So we're going to call this From the Heart with Jimmy Sorensen. So Jimmy, you gave us a teaser trailer last week about the photo. So
it's not a
why
photo.
don't you tell us about this? I mean the drawing.
That's it's not a photo. It's a drawing.
You don't be a dick about it.
It's not. It's not a photo.
Yours. It's not a photo, dang it.
It's still weird to me, damn it. The first wrestling show I ever went to was April 23rd, 2019. And I went to this show with 2 titles. The WWE replica title that they've been using for the last 9 years. I wanted to say decade, but not quite a decade. That'll be next year.
Close enough.
And the Universal title, the red one with the red strap replica I had at the time, and went to it and VIP stuff. There was this. I sat next to a child and his father, where I'm gonna give it. And the little kid's name is Madden. And I was just sitting next to him, talking to him throughout the show, and told me that I asked him if he had any wrestling titles at home, and it's like, I don't have anything, no. So out of the kindness of my heart, I felt like it was the right thing to do to give him a replica title, which he got signed by Roman Reigns after the show had ended, and has it actually up on his wall. But after about a week later, his dad, a couple of days later, his dad messaged me asking me for my address, thinking, okay, he had something to give me. I figured it was gonna be a card. Well, it was a lot better than a card. It was this drawing, and it's drawing of John Cena, AJ Styles, Taker, Kane, Randy Orton, Page, Warrior, and Hogan
Brother.
right there. And
Yeah, push it down a little bit more. Let's see the top. There you go. Nice.
and
I
on the
like
back
it.
side,
Love it.
and on the back side it says, "Do you give a lot of kids awesome stuff like me and my dad? I'm just saying, James, question mark. To you, James from Madden. Thank you."
A little down, just a little bit more.
I'll put a poster. I'll put a picture of. I'll take a picture of this and upload this.
Oh
photo.
yeah. Yeah, we'll
good
do
idea.
that. We'll take a picture of it and we'll put it under the post. Damn it, that's awesome. I love that story.
And one of the first things I ever did after becoming an adult, and was able to start going to wrestling shows. So I have given many people belts and cool things just because I felt like it was the right thing to do. And Gallagher can attest.
I have been the lovely recipient of many things from Jimmy Sars. And there is nobody in this world with a kinder heart and nobody in this world who's more generous or has a bigger heart than my man Jimmy over there. Have you stayed in touch with the family at all?
I keep in touch here and there.
That's great.
His dad
love
works.
that.
That's
His
amazing. Very cool.
His dad's a chiropractor in a town just about half hour away from me.
That's awesome. You have any questions for him, Ben?
No, I mean, I've heard a lot about Jimmy's generosity and his kind heart, and I mean that sums it all up. You know, that kind of, it's just, yeah. I got no words other than like, you're a good guy, Jimmy, and I'm glad that I am in a position where I can get to know you as a friend.
Thank you. So about a week is what, March 14th. So sorry, I'm thinking in my head. Sorry.
I know I smell something burning.
It's been a crazy decade, actually. 11, 12 years. So I give more than I take. Just something my dad instilled in me before he got sick and ultimately took his own life by suicide. And I never want anyone to feel the pain I felt. For years I said I never wanted anybody to feel like how he did, like feeling like there was no hope. And that is true. But at the same time, I don't want anyone to feel like how I did, felt helpless to see someone I loved not being able to do anything to help them. So if I can share a little bit of kindness, as some people say it's probably like, if I can make someone's day by giving them a belt or something, why not? I might. We all need hope in this life, and I try a lot more than people realize.
Thank you for sharing, Jimmy. And I mean, for those of you who are watching this, Jimmy and I know each other pretty dang well, and I love listening to his stories. I love listening to his philosophy on life, and I always tell him, if everybody can have a modicum of kindness to the extent of how Jimmy has it, then this world would be a much better place. So, Jimmy, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy.
So, we have my segment on the show. It's called Mike's Music Corner, and what I've always kind of wanted to do, not wanted to do, but what me and my friend Sam always talk about is who done it better, right? Who recorded it better, or who did the song better. So what we've been doing is we would just take a song recorded by two different artists, and we would say who done it better. So this week, the song is "Feeling All Right" or "Feeling All Right." There's no G at the end of "feeling." "Feeling All Right," originally written by the band Traffic. And for those who don't know who Traffic is, Traffic was a band in the 60s, 70s. And the lead singer and the writer of the song, his name is Dave Mason. Another person that people may recognize from Traffic is Stevie Winwood. He was one of the original members of Traffic. And then the other version was Joe Cocker. And I think the Joe Cocker version is a little bit more popular because it's a little bit more recent and a little bit more popular when it plays on the radio. So a little bit of background on this one, and I'm going to pull my notes up here, is so Traffic was written by Dave Mason. Dave Mason is the lead singer of it, and it's more of a mellow track. You know, it doesn't have a very driving beat. It's more of a mellow track. It's more of a album cut of, and for those of you who don't know what an album cut is a song that is not considered one of the hits on the album. So each album, maybe depending on the band, depending on the album, may have 2 to 3 hit songs on there, and say the other 8 songs out of the 12 are what's called album cuts. And I think that song was an album cut initially until Joe Cocker redid it and made it popular. And a little bit of background on Joe Cocker's version is it's more, to me, it's more of a driving beat. What I mean by driving beat, it hits heavy. It's a boom, 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 boom. And it keeps it going. It keeps the song going. It keeps the song flowing. You know, makes you want to get up and dance. Makes you want to get up and groove and you know, kind of shake your hips and you know, rub your shoulders, not rub your shoulders, but move your shoulders a little bit. So for me, my favorite version of this song is by Joe Cocker. And Jimmy, did you get a chance to listen to the both versions, or are you familiar with both versions of the song?
I am not. I apologize. I've been under the weather lately, and I haven't had a chance to listen to either version. I apologize. That's silly of me.
That's okay. That's okay.
I've been.
You do it again, he's going to have some fighting words.
All right, I'll give you one. Lonely. There's 2 versions. Mr. I think it's Valentini, and then Akon was a good one.
Okay, I like it. What about you, Ben? Did you get a chance to listen to him?
I did listen to both of them, and I have to admit I had no idea who Traffic was.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not only didn't I hear their cover of their original "Feeling All Right," but I wouldn't be able to tell you what else they've done. Like you were saying, though, the Joe Cocker version is the most popular. Well, it's the only version I've heard.
Okay.
And I think he had a very unique raspy voice, and I think he was able to cover songs quite well. Like you mentioned, with a little help from my friends, how he did that version probably better than the Beatles. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the Joe Cocker version. Yeah. So good choice.
Thank you. And another song that you may know by Traffic is "Dear Mr. Fantasy." That was their other big hit. Was "Dear Mr.
Okay.
Fantasy," which more recently, a lot of people probably recognize it from the beginning of the intro to Endgame. While they were doing the Marvel credits in the very beginning of the movie, they played "Dear Mr. Fantasy," and to that point, that was the only Marvel movie that didn't have the Marvel theme song that played over the opening credits. It was "Dear Mr. Fantasy." So that's another one. And I believe Stevie Winwood was the person who sang "Dear Mr. Fantasy." And trust me, if I'm wrong, my dad will tell me after he listens to this. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you letting me do that. So next is going to be our Jonesy's jokes and our dad jokes of the week. So take it away, Mr. Jones.
Okay, first one. So hang on, do you know what? I'm gonna have to get the readers on.
Here we go.
Oh, that's better.
Can you tell me what?
Look down. Okay. You think gas prices are expensive? Have you seen chimneys? They're through the roof. There we go. There we go.
I like that.
See, this is already better than last week's Undertaker joke.
Which I totally used this week, by the way.
And how was the reaction?
About the same.
Do you know what? I thought it might have been an Australian and an American issue there. Maybe that's, I don't know. Okay, second one. How do computers get drunk?
How?
They take screenshots.
You should have
All right,
stopped.
last
You
one.
should have stopped at number one.
Oh, come on, I can't do that.
How many you got? How many you got?
Well, I've got three,
ahead.
but if there's a popular demand for more, I've got more. Okay. My wife said, I can think of 14 reasons to leave you, plus your obsession with tennis. I replied, that's 15 love.
All right. Give us another one. Give us another one.
Oh, okay.
Go one more. Go one more.
Let me put my eyes back on. All right. Okay. My daughter asked me if I had seen the dog bowl. I said, no, I didn't even know that he could. And thank you.
Did I on the last week? Did I tell about the pianist?
No.
And I'm pretty sure I don't think we want to hear about the pianist.
Is it clean?
Yeah, is it?
So a guy walks.
All right, go for it.
So a guy walks into a bar. It's just a guy and a bartender. The guy says to the bartender, so if I can show you something that you never seen anywhere, will you give me free drinks all night? He's like, yes. Guy takes out a piano, little tiny piano, and takes out a little man. Starts playing the best thing music he's ever heard. So all right. That's the craziest thing I ever never seen. So free drinks all night. Yeah, the guy asked him, how'd you get that? The guy says it's a magic Jack Daniels bottle. So the bartender goes around and goes and rubs it and asks for goes out and comes back and guy starts raining ducks. He's like, why is it raining ducks? I asked for $1 million. Like, you think I asked for a 10-inch pianist?
All right.
Not
all
bad.
right.
Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. Let's try to keep it cleaner for next episode, though. These are dad jokes, by the way.
Yeah, ducks are very offensive.
Want $1 million, not a million ducks.
All right. Well, that is it for season 1, episode dos of the Zip Code Bros. But before we go, let's give the first thing we want to do is I also want to spotlight next week. We're going to do John Chena as Santino Morella. Where did Jimmy go? Ben, where did Jimmy go? Oh, there he is.
Are they?
There he is. So our next topic is going to be John Cena. And so any questions, comments, concerns you guys have about John Cena and his 5 moves of doom, or his bald spot, or his upcoming match with Austin Theory, please drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions you guys have at all, even just about what we may have talked about, music, jokes, Jimmy's from the Heart, Adam's Week in Pro Wrestling History. Please like and subscribe it. You know, I never thought in my wildest dreams I would ever say that out loud. But like and subscribe it if you do like it. Or again, if you guys have any constructive criticism, please give us a shout. But before we bounce, where can we find you, Ben?
So I am at AFS Ben Jones on Twitter and also at Zipcode Bros on Twitter.
All right. What about you, Mr. Sorensen? And Facebook. Ben can also be found on Facebook.
Yep.
I mean, we're all connected to the to the Zip Code Bros. Me, Michael Gallagher, Ben Jones, and Adam Jefferson.
Mr. AJ.
If you have any hate tweets, send them to at OG James ad free. That is my Twitter, and I prefer good tweets, but if I have to have hate tweets too, well, gotta have hate or something.
All right. So before we go, and we can edit out the last bit when I hit stop recording, but let's all do our best.
Where can we find you, Mike?
Hey,
Oh, where can we find me? That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's right. So you can find me at Mike Gurr 0905 on Twitter. That's MikeGRR 0905 at Twitter. And you can also find me on Facebook.
And you can find him also at stalking behind Christian Cage's bushes.
That was a shot.
If I wasn't wearing this bandana, it would be a lot sillier. But let's us do our best Hulk Hogan poses before we go. All right, let's rock and roll. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And then we hope to see you next week on the Zip Code Bros.
Yeah, brother.